Alright, let's get this over with. So, I'm going to be talking about a bunch of things in this video, but if you just want the short of it is that I'm going to be stopping Buddyfight content here on this channel. I might do some over on the Buddy Spoiler YouTube channel. I might be involved in a podcast there, potentially. I might be putting up some match videos and deck profiles there. I don't know at this point. I'm still kind of undecided on that. But if you want to follow any Buddyfight content I do in the future, go subscribe to that. We're working on making it a collaborative thing between a bunch of creators so that we can have consistent content coming out without putting too much stress on any individual creator. That's the goal there. Now, let's get into the juicy details. So, why am I stopping Buddyfight content? Well, it's not because I'm quitting the game, which is what you'd probably assume. No, it's not because I'm quitting the game. I still really enjoy playing a bunch of decks in this game. I'm still going to be doing all my stuff over on Buddy Spoiler, believe me. If I was completely leaving the game, I'd be leaving that stuff too. I wouldn't care. But I still do care about this game. This is still one of my favorite card games to ever exist. I love the core game rules, despite there being a lot of areas where it could be improved. I love what the game is. And it continues to put out things like toilets, like Shadow Dragons, like the Disease deck that I like a lot. But I've come to a point where I've realized, well, the game has long since gone past the point where I can play a deck that no one else has really played, do well with it and get this incredible sense of accomplishment and pride out of that experience. Like, all of my tops, every single one of them from 2014 to 2016 until this year where it was a train wreck because the games moved past that and I kept trying to push that with everything I played. I have a great sense of pride for every single one of those tops. Like my first top at Toronto, where I came third, did that with Demon Girl, recognized a big weakness in what was basically a tier 0 deck at the time, realized that this set that basically everyone was ignoring as far as the competitive game was concerned, actually had a deck hid away in it that completely destroyed Dungeon. And I ended up taking that to top 8 at Continentals, at my first ever Continentals, so that was really cool. Then the year after that, I took the brand new Raging Spears to top 8 at Springfest. Springfest doesn't matter, who gives a shit. Then after that, every time I think about it, I am still incredibly proud of what I was able to do with Kaizerion, because yes, I was playing the tier 0 deck, but I do still have a sense of accomplishment because there were a bunch of other Kaizerion players there, and because of my own ability, because of my own deck building strengths, I was able to recognize cards that would patch up the few weaknesses that the deck had, and gave you a huge edge in the mirror, and that allowed me to take the complete victory at that regionals, and define what the Kaizerion build for that format in North America would look like. And so I'm incredibly proud of that. And then even if I only came third, even if I'm still incredibly salty about bricking to Austin and a version of a deck that's basically the same version as mine, but didn't have the tools to succeed so well in general matchups, but had a specifically strong matchup against Knights. Yes, I'm still salty about coming third, with Kevin Cho coming first, but I still came third. I still went the distance with that Arc and Shield deck, and I got to see Austin, and if I was going to lose to anyone, if I was going to lose out on that to anyone, I'd rather it be Austin. It's best if it was the person that I had trained for a month for Continentals with, and I got to see him take that World Finals. Then after that, I took top 8. I'm still very frustrated about the fact that I didn't go farther because of a stupid misplay. But 100 Demons, which had been mostly ignored, I realized that that they did have a real place in the format after their set 4 support, and I managed to take them to top 8. Again, would have gone farther if I didn't misplay, but whatever. And then in New York later that year, I came top 8 again with Jackknife Bonds, another deck that I had really vouched for, but people kept going, no, it's not competitive. That's why I didn't show up at cons, and I go to like one of the regionals that's within like the top 3 biggest in New York and come top 8 with that, nearly going flawless in Swiss. And then like my only real regret with my competitive with my competitive record in Buddy Fight is I did not pick up full hams when I had the chance at New York. Like if I just bought the full hams from Arturo or just bought them online, I am 100% sure I would have at least topped at Toronto. There's no way I wouldn't have topped if I had those full hams, because like where I lost at Toronto was I lost there because an extremely edge case scenario happened that only screwed me because I only had one full ham. So I regret that incredibly. I would have loved if my final note on the Buddy Fight scene had ended up being full ham, but since then, it might be that the community has grown to this point. It might be that the game has just outstripped this. It might just be that the direction of the game just hasn't supported original playstyles doing well. But it's clear to me that things like that aren't going to happen again. I don't think things like that are really going to happen. Like, even Thunder Knights, which I was the deck builder behind, that was a complete fluke. And because Toronto was such a small regionals, that's the only reason that happened. That's the only reason that happened. And that was before XBTO3 and Overturn and Overkill and Thunder Emperor's Fangs made everything go out of control. That was before all that. So it's definitely not going to happen now. And I have no clue how they're going to fix this power creep going into Season 5. And, it really put things into perspective watching the Shadowverse Grand Finals last week. Because it made me realize, no Bushiroad game, like not even just English Bushiroad Buddy Fight, no Bushiroad game is ever going to even attempt to reach that level, because Bushiroad does not care. They are too set in their ways. In fact, they decide to take away the circuit system that was way better for competitive play, and instead of just increasing local support, because that's what's actually going to improve things for the casual player, they instead do these team regionals that people have to travel to. And if people are going to have to travel to this event, you better be damn sure you're giving us a good competitive circuit. But they're not. They don't care. It's never going to mean anything. So, like, while I'm sure that if I try hard and build Thunder Empire or Chaos or whatever's the top dog at that time, I'm absolutely sure I could perform well again. But I don't want to. I'm not interested in that. There's no incentive for me to try hard like that. I'm going to get, what, a trip to Japan? I've been to Japan before. Like, that's not something that I'm super interested in. And there are so many card games where going to the World Finals gets you a trip to Japan. That's not terribly special to Bushiroad games. That's not super special. So I'm not interested in that. I can't get the pride and accomplishment that I previously had. And what purpose does my content have? Because everything is so easy now. Everything is straightforward. Just look up the Japanese Twitter hashtag. You'll find a basis for your list. You don't need me. You don't need me. I don't serve a purpose. So, and I've always felt this obligation to build as many decks as possible, to be as well versed in as many decks as possible, to make good content. But I don't see the point in doing that anymore. I don't see the point. I don't see why I put forward that effort. Bushiroad isn't going to give us incentive to try hard. The game isn't hard. Like, I still love this game. I will play it probably until the day it dies. And I will still find decks to enjoy. But I don't see a point in continuing my content. I'm glad I managed to pass 1K subs. I'm happy that's an accomplishment I have. And I'm happy this is an accomplishment I have. Like, I will never forget my 3 years as a competitive player as Buddy Fight, I will never forget this achievement. I will always be happy about this. I will always be glad to have the friends that I made through Buddy Fight. People like Austin and Matt and Mario and all those people. I love you guys a lot. I'm so glad that I got to meet all of you through this game that I love. But I've had enough. I can be satisfied and move on. And just be casual. And if I'm going to try hard at a game, which I am, because I love card games and I want to succeed in some way at them, then I'm going to do it in games like Shadowverse or other digital games that are much easier for me to put my time into, don't have these lightning fast formats changing every month, have an actual incentive for if I try hard. Like, I had a couple of videos I wanted to do before this, but one of them was on Ultimate Stride and why Ultimate Stride does once per fight way better than Overkill does. But Bushrod completely fucked that up with Dust, so I'm not doing that video. And the other thing was giving information on why exactly X has gone to shit. Based on some information Brent Olet gave me. So basically, here's what happened. Back in 2014, Triple D was being developed back then, which is also very interesting to note because that means that Triple D was the first season in development after the game launched, which tells me that the criticisms, like in Triple D, you see expansions of the buddy mechanic and an attempt to fix impacts. And those were the two chief complaints about Buddy Fight when it launched. So that really tells me something about the original director for Buddy Fight. But the unfortunate thing is he's gone. Basically what happened was in 2014, this little set called Nisekoi came out for Weiss. And as I'm sure any Weiss player will tell you, it was a complete fucking disaster. And when that happened, the current director for Weiss at the time got their ass booted. The Buddy Fight director took over for Weiss while still doing Triple D, and once Triple D was done, he was like, I can't handle both of these, I'm just going to handle Weiss. And we got some newbie director for X. And that's why we're in this mess of a clown fiesta that we have found ourselves in. Which is rather unfortunate, but what can you do? What can you really do? You can't really do anything, it's the way it is. And I hope Kidani came down basically to oversee the new series of Vanguard that's coming after GZ, to oversee Buddy Fight Season 5, to make sure it gets back on track, which I hope he can fix things. If he can fix things, that's great, that's great. And apparently the Buddy Fight R&D has had a big restructure as a preventative measure for this happening again. And I assume Weiss is like something to do with making sure nothing like Nisekoi happens again. And I hear from people who play Weiss that after Nisekoi, Weiss did improve, the design in Weiss did improve a lot. So that's evidence that our original director was a good boy, but he's gone. And who knows what Season 5 will bring? Who knows what the future will bring? But that's why X is the way it is. It makes a whole lot more sense when you realize that. Though I feel like there was some other design team change that happened midway through X, around like somewhere in between the design of XBTO2 and XBTO3, and they like went back to XBTO2 and broke Chaos, because the design in pre-XBTO2 and this also includes like half of XBTO2. Like that, the design then was really good. Like some of Buddy Fight's best design, but everything after it has been a clown fiesta. And only in XBTO4 has it actually felt like a Buddy Fight set again. And even then, it's not enough. So you know, it's a mess. And you know, we've got to do one last thing before we go, guys. Because if I'm basically exiting this fucking dumpster fire of a community, because that's what it is at this point, all of the good people have basically stopped interacting, stopped posting, stopped doing things. I'm going to now. So basically you just have a dumpster fire. And I'm sorry to leave you in that, but I don't feel like Bushrod has made it worth my while to like, I don't know. I will admit, I am a bit salty that I haven't been a part of those product review programs. With everything I've done over the years with new stuff with my channel, and, you know, I do feel a bit unappreciated, yeah. And I'm just a 1K sub channel, so, you know, I guess I can't expect it. But, you know, being on the Buddy Spoiler team makes me a bit more privy to knowing why I didn't, and it's really irritating. It's really goddamn irritating. But this isn't about Bushiroad. I'm pretty fine with Bushiroad because I understand that basically it's just a Japanese branch that prevents them from expanding the competitive play in the local scene. So I can't really blame them. So this isn't about them. This is about the rest of the shithole of this community. For one, Raijin. Raijin is a really shit channel. Cobalt Claw, whatever. Really garbage channel. If you are involved in the Discords I'm in, you have probably seen me on multiple occasions when Raijin puts out a news video and I put a similar news video, me remarking how much shorter and more concise mine is, because Raijin spends a lot of time but doesn't really say anything. Like, he says, like, the most common denominator thing, because he is the common denominator. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He has no fucking clue. And he won't actually make a statement ever. Like, he'll just say, this is really good in this situation. Like, he'll never say a card's bad. Which, honestly, I don't want to shit talk him, but, like, I do sort of have this issue with Different Fight, and I love you, Different Fight. You're not Raijin. Trust me, your content is of a way higher caliber, but I do feel you have this sort of problem too. But it's so bad with Raijin. And if you actually interact with him in chats, like, he is such a goddamn hypocrite. Like, I saw him, like, he's called me an elitist and similar terms so many fucking times, more than I can fucking count. And the other day, I found him on the wiki talking down to people for daring to play Campari. And, like, okay, Raijin, okay, you're sure, alright. And, like, in Different Fights Discord, he'll constantly, like, start shit, and whenever I call him out on it, he's like, don't make this personal, man, when it's not personal at all. I'm just calling him out and saying really stupid shit. Yeah. Matt is one of the most irritating people I've ever had to deal with. I've known him since the early Vanguard days. He always goes through this cycle of doing shit to get people to pity for him. Like, if you've seen him, like, I don't know his life. I don't know if he's actually suicidal, but, like, it's the boy who cries wolf. That's what Matt is. That's what he is. He's done this shit. He's done these pity calls so many times that I'm not going to believe him anytime he does it, because he's done it so much. And, like, he's a complete hypocrite when it comes to talking about deck support. He'll whine about other decks getting support, but then whine about people complaining about Dragonworld support. I'm fucking, can't stand him. Cannot stand him. Team Plays for Days is completely fucking obnoxious, and it's honestly comical how many update videos in a row they did before actually resuming content. I don't think they're actively doing content now, so that's a whole thing. Card Protagonist and Dragon King completely sicken me because all of their content is shallow plugs for their super overpriced decks that are awful on Buddy Mart, and it's all a big scam, and I hate them. Like, I legitimately hate these two because what they do with their channels makes me sick. Like, actually makes me want to throw up. TCG Buzz is, like, the worst Buddy Fight channel on YouTube. Like, really, really bad. Like, card game YouTube is one of those things where you either have to be actually good at the game or know how to stick to content that does not make it obvious that you're completely fucking incompetent. And TCG Buzz does not do this. And they have these obnoxious intros all the time. No one fucking cares. And the fact that they're starting to approach me in subscribers is just evidence of how shit tier this community is. Team Total Justice Gaming was actually pretty decent. Like, I think their deck profiles weren't too great, but like their content was consistent. It was pretty decent. Buddy Jacoby, I think, is his channel name now, is pretty decent. Like, and he has a decent Discord community built up. And like, there's a reason why I sometimes jump into his streams, because like, the guy's cool enough. And you know, there might be a bit regional bias there, because he does live in the same province as me. So, you know, there might be a bit of regional bias there, but whatever, man. Who else is there to shit talk? Oh, right! How can we forget, guys? How can we forget? Well, before we get to the one that we can't forget, we have to remember, hey, remember Donut? Remember the Donut who started all that drama with the young Golers? And then there was that Team Burning Infinity thing where I actually cried watching that stream because people I had considered my friends stabbed me in the back and said very, very incredibly mean things, and their fan base, which were all joining in on this burning of the witch, burn the witch at the stake. They don't even remember that they did these things. They won't apologize for it because they won't remember. Like, what the fuck is his name? Team Buddy Fight saying like he seriously doesn't understand why I dislike him. But whatever. Like, Connor Cox doesn't understand why I dislike him. For context, Connor Cox is the guy who in the stream that TBI was shit-talking me incessantly had this knife the whole time and was trolling it the whole time. While Jalen, who apparently, I don't know the details, but apparently he does have father issues, was calling me worse than his father, who he evidently hates. While all this shit-talking of me, all this incessant shit-talking of me and calling me an elitist scumbag, when I just want to point out that way back in the day, way back in early 2014, there was this Buddy Call podcast that myself and TBI were both on. That's where I met the TBI guys. And occasionally, we shit-talk some topping deck lists. And guess what? TBI members did that too! They did that alongside me! Yet they shit-talked me incessantly that time because I was shit-talking topping lists. Oh no, I'm so sorry. It totally takes away their accomplishment, right? You fucking hypocrites. You piece of shits. Like, I was never really going to be ready to move past that immediately. But then, of course, like, the way they behaved did not indicate in the slightest that they really regretted what they did. Despite pulling me into a stream to ask for forgiveness, like, pulled me into a Hangouts call to ask for forgiveness. They never really acted like they were actually remorseful. I never really felt like they were remorseful. And then that stream is still up, of course. That stream is still up, of course. Like, clearly no remorse there. Clearly no shit's given. But they're a dead channel. No one fucking cares about them. No one's cared about them for like years. So, you know, that's really bringing up super old shit at this point. But we've got one last one to talk about. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of this one. The fucking thing that got me banned from NA for no goddamn reason. Hey, here's a good idea. Let's ban one of the biggest ruling experts in our community. The guy who does a lot of news shit that brings discussion constant discussion posts to our group. And is a prolific content creator in our community. Let's ban him because in his personal Discord, he said some mean shit about one of our admins because his comment got deleted by an admin for no reason. Because he was stating an actual fact. Because Khalil or someone was claiming that all the tops were on the channel Khalil was part of. I think it's Team Plays for Days. I think it is. When Kip's top wasn't Kip's DC top, Dragon Chief Emperor's top for context. This was like earlier this year, when DC God of War toys was still a thing and Mill was still a thing. Because that comment that was actually stating facts actually got deleted, and I shit-talked admins in my personal Discord because of that thing actually happening. And while it wasn't the person I initially thought it might be, it still was an admin, and I get banned for that. Great. Minham is about as much of a scumbag as he was back in his Vanguard days. Cosmore, I cannot care for Cosmore at all, because thanks to him, me and my friends went through a bunch of slander and shit like that. A lot of lying about what we were doing, which I know they're fully aware that they are lying, talking out of their ass. Completely ruined my motivation to play Dragonborn. Completely ruined that game for me, because every time I thought about it, I would inevitably drift to that drama. And it didn't help that this happened around the same time that my grandma died. My only grandparent left died. So you know, that was pretty fucking shitty. Sent me into depression for a good 3 months. Thanks to all that shit happening at once. So thanks for that, Cosmore. You're definitely a good person. You're definitely not an egotistical shitbag who only says things that benefit you and benefits your e-fame. You're a great guy. Minham is the type of person who also only really cares about e-fame. And if you're not all for him, then you might as well be against him. I'm really ashamed that I, at any point, thought that Minham had improved. Yeah, fuck him. Fuck him. If my information from Brian Ashbrook is correct, Justin Gee actually wanted my ban to only be temporary, and the only reason it isn't temporary is because Minham insisted on keeping it banned. But this is the same two-faced fucker that would go, oh, I don't want to keep you banned. It's out of my control. Austin, I feel like I can't control the group anymore. Fuck these assholes. Seriously. They're pieces of shit. And honestly, I would probably have stuck with Bite Fight content a lot longer if this community wasn't filled with such shitbags. But I found myself drifting farther and farther away from physical card games in general, because I've realized that the reason that these groups have so much power is because of the importance of trading in a physical card game. And Facebook is the best tool for that. So whoever has the biggest Facebook group basically wins. They get to be a tyrant. And there isn't a whole lot you can do to stop them. You can try, but if they have that established foothold, good fucking luck. It makes me sick. Ugh. Yeah, I think that's everything I need to get off my chest. If I continue to do Bite Fight stuff, it will be over on the Bite Spoiler YouTube. As I said, link will be in the description. I will be probably doing a bunch of streaming of Shadowverse and Eternal and Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. I'm probably going to be doing one the night that this is recorded, but this won't be going up until New Year's. So, yeah. I'll see you guys around. Before we actually end this off, I just want to end it on a bit more of a positive note. Like, as I said earlier, the friends I made through these 4 years with this game, I wouldn't trade for anything. The experiences that I got in this game, I would not trade for anything. It still feels really shitty that some of those friends I made along the way did backstab me, but most of them didn't. Most of them are still really good friends that I think I'm going to keep up with for as long as I can. Like Austin, Matt, Mario, Levi, Tim. There's a bunch of others who actually really helped me keep going. In another Discord that I found that's tucked away from basically the rest of the community. And having those friends there, like, you guys are probably listening to this, and I just want to say I appreciate you guys so much, because I think I would have had a whole lot harder of a time staying sane, especially through the Cosmore shit. if I hadn't had you guys. Having you guys there, I really appreciate it. And all my other friends who have made through the competitive community, like, as I already said, Austin, Tim, Levi, Matt, Mario, Box, Spec. There's probably tons that I'm forgetting to name right now. But I appreciate you guys, all of you guys, so much. And I wouldn't trade these experiences for anything. Even if I'm going to be diving out of this game competitively, I hope to keep up with you guys for as long as possible, and maybe I'll find another card game to try hard in that isn't Buddy Fight. Or maybe Buddy Fight one day will be a legitimate competitive game. Maybe it'll go full digital and I'll find a good place there. Who knows? You never know what the future holds.